What up, though? Want to welcome y'all to This Is What We're Doing Now. Here with your favorite asshole. Got on the other side of the line, Top Boogie. We also have a new guest for you guys today. Why don't you introduce her?
Hey everybody, so we're super excited. Y'all know that we are totally trying to find a third person who fits in with this podcast. So today we have one of my very dear friends, and I'm so excited she's here, Miss Quaysha G. So why don't you tell us something about yourself, honey?
Oh, me. I am just me. I'm a bartender by trade, so I like whipping up the finest libations, alcohol and non-alcohol. And I'm just here for the comments. I'm here to have a good time.
Amen to that. I'm here for the comments too. And by the way, she is an amazing bartender. Check her out on Facebook. It's called Sweet Shooters. We love to promote Black business, so we are promoting my boo today. The first topic that I kind of wanted to talk about, and I know it's kind of heavy and it's early in the morning, so I'm sorry, y'all. But we're gonna start talking about Hamilton. Billy, did you watch it?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so Quaysha and I are going to talk about Hamilton, but then I'm going to bring you in at the end because I want to kind of tie in. I want to start with Hamilton and then kind of segue to the removal of Confederate statues and how all of that kind of plays in together. So we'll bring you in for the end part of that. But Quaysha, let me start with you. What did you think of the musical Hamilton that has been recently released on Disney Plus?
I thoroughly enjoyed it way more than I thought I would. Okay, let me just first say that. Because first, everybody's like, Hamilton's on Disney Plus. I'm just like, yeah, okay, But I didn't think it was a big deal. But, people were ranting and raving. And so I was like, okay, maybe I need to check this out, see what it's about. And I was literally hooked within the first couple of minutes. I was drawn in. They had me hooked. I was like, okay, Hamilton, I can get with this. I can do this. I like it. You know what I'm saying? I really like how they threw in like the hip hop element and stuff. I really wasn't expecting that, but I thought it was really dope.
I agree. I think that the hip hop thing, it brought like something fresh to a musical. I don't know like what it was, but like the beats was popping. They was like dancing and I also thought it was really interesting that a Black man played Thomas Jefferson. Because Thomas Jefferson was like a crazy pedophile slave owner. So I thought that was like a great juxtaposition, and I thought he did an amazing job. I can't remember what his name is, but he's also Rainbow's brother on Blackish. So Hamilton, I thought was really good, but what do you think about the idea of watching Hamilton as a musical, but it also celebrating his legacy as one of the founding fathers of America?
Well, listen, that whole thing is the whole founding fathers of America. I mean, you can't found something that already exists, okay? But I get it that they formed a new nation. Mm-hmm. And, when we broke off from the British and whatnot, it was an interesting take on the storyline. And a lot of times with musicals, the storyline kind of gets lost because you get lost in the music and caught up in the singing and dancing. And so I really thought that it really drew me in, and I was paying attention more to the storyline than I didn't get caught up in all the singing and dancing. It didn't take away from it at all. But I don't know. I'm really up in the air as far as that is concerned. Honestly, I don't know about celebrating the founding fathers of this country. Its history is very skewed, and I feel like we will never know the real story on how America came to be. They constantly whitewash things and leave out Black people's significance. I'm like, no one finds it odd that Black people have been in this country. I think we were here before the slaves were brought here, but that's a whole nother story. But let's just work with the premise that Black people came when the slaves were brought here. Okay, let's work with that. How are we still only 13% of the population?
Because they kill us.
You know what Exactly. Like nobody finds that odd. You know what I'm saying? And, but we still make up the majority of the prison system. And, and there's a lot of things that people just I don't understand how people just don't see that racism is still alive and well.
I agree. Billy, I'll let you jump in here.
I think that I agree with you that Black people were here before, because I watch a guy, his name is Akala. He did a presentation about Black culture at Oxford University, and one thing I didn't know is that actually the waterway from Africa to America, it'll take you straight here. And they actually found fossils in Virgin Islands of St. Thomas of Africans who predated Columbus. But the founding fathers, man, I think, like she said, history is skewed. And I think the biggest part, it's just certain stuff you don't learn about in history. Like, a lot of people don't know that Crispus Attucks, a Black man who was in the Navy during that time, was one of the first people killed in the Revolutionary War. I mean, every part of the history they try to whitewash, we're a part of. Literally, you cannot name a part of history of America's history that doesn't have a Black man having some kind of significance in it.
I think that's true. So then, if we're saying that, we don't teach the correct history has been whitewashed. I'm hearing now a lot of school systems saying they're going to revise their history program to be more accurate. Do you trust them to do that?
No, I do not. How hard is it? You know how hard it is to tell a sixth grader, well, your great grandfather was probably a slave owner. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just certain stuff in history that we didn't see, even in our textbooks, I don't remember ever seeing dogs attack people. And they talked about history started at the civil rights movement for white people in America with us. And they tried to make civil rights like this thing that obviously we were wanting to be equal, but they never show you the ugliness of it. And I think to really teach that in schools, you have to show the ugliness of it. And I don't think they want that in the curriculum.
Well, do you think that these little, I don't want to say anything mean about America's youth, but I really honestly don't think that these children are as mentally tough as maybe we were when we were young. So do you think that they could even handle that kind of truth telling in the classroom, kids these days, because we've protected them from so much?
I think they could if we presented it to them. That's the thing. You don't never know how tough you are until you actually put in that situation. You can seem soft on the outside, but once you're put in that situation where it's fight or flight, then that's when your true colors come out. I don't think we're ever going to know how tough they are unless we challenge them to do so. And if we don't challenge them, they're going to continue to be weak and feeble and, no, I don't believe that. You know what I'm saying? Challenging them is what's going to expand and open their minds. So if we don't do that, they're just going to be stuck where they are.
I think that's absolutely correct. So, okay, so transitioning this conversation a little bit more, where do you stand on the removal of Confederate statues or statues of the founding fathers, such as Thomas Jefferson or George Washington, whose teeth were made from slave teeth? I just want to put that out there because
look, man, they had 5 years of actual history. That's it. Confederacy only lasted for 5 years. It was a failed plan.
Except in Texas, they ceded, they was broke, and then they came back, but they was gone for longer than everybody else. So give Texas their props because they.
A lot of people don't even know that the only reason the Louisiana Purchase even happened is because of what the Haitians did to Napoleon's army. They bankrupted Napoleon, and he needed the money. It's the only reason America was even able to purchase Louisiana.
Yeah, and also like here's my thing about the Confederate. When did we start celebrating the losing team? When does the losing team get trophies and statues and stuff? You lost, so why do we have statues of the losing team? What are we celebrating here? You know what I'm saying? I feel like it sends the wrong message. It's almost like you guys were right, but you just lost, and it's okay. No, it's not. You lost. And you're wrong, but I think that's what has allowed this racist ideology to carry on so long, because we've allowed these people to praise this losing ideology, the losing team. If we had to just nip that stuff in the bud in the beginning, maybe a lot of these racists wouldn't be around. Maybe they would have changed their minds a long time ago if we would have just nipped it in the bud. It was more like, okay, you have the same view, opposite views, and it's not right, but as long as you do it over there, it's fine.
The biggest problem with the Confederacy was there were no repercussions for losing. They didn't lock any of them up. Once they lost the war, they said, okay, go back to your state, go live your life, be with your family. We know that you guys tried to betray us, but it's okay because we're not arguing with you. We just wanted to end the war. That's all it was. They just wanted to end the war. It wasn't about we wanted to end slavery. It wasn't about none of that. If it was up to us, Lincoln would have left us fucking slaves. All they wanted them to do was calm the fuck down. That's the only thing that they wanted from them, was for them to calm down.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, what did it really solve? I mean, so it wasn't like in law, but that's when Jim Crow came into play. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it might not be the law, but it's going to be how things are done around here. And that's how it's going to be done, and nobody's going to, check us about it. And that's what.
So basically,
really consequences.
So basically, I feel like the Confederates got like a participation trophy, and we've been giving them a pass this whole fucking time, and now it's time for them to pay their dues. So I'm all for them taking down these fucking statues. Like, whether there's a Confederate statue, I think that we can find a person who represents that town or city or park or military base a little bit better, and who represents the American ideals a little bit better. I don't
see, that's the thing. I think the Confederacy is the American ideals, to be honest with you. That American flag, that getting rid of that Confederate flag is going to be replaced by the American flag. The whole system is fucked. I think that's the biggest problem with it. What do you guys think on this note about Trump saying that all these statues are being taken down? He's going to have them move to a national park to celebrate those people.
I hope it's in his backyard because that's the only way they're going to go.
I wish somebody would move him to a national park and just let bears eat him. That's
right. Can we encase him in stone?
Literally. Like, nobody. And my thing is I just really honestly don't care anything he has to say. And I really hope that in November, we never have to hear another thing that he says again. If he really honestly wants to celebrate our military people, then he needs to go and apologize to them for being a draft dodger. Like, at the end, like, I have no respect for anything that he has to say in regards to military warfare, really anything that's going on in this country, because we're living in a total and utter shithole ghetto at this point.
In his defense, I would have dodged the draft too. Just be honest about it. Y'all not about to send me to no war that I didn't have nothing to do with starting. I'd be a draft dodger if they ever had another draft. You're not about to see me. They gonna be calling my name 3 times, and I'm not gonna be there. Y'all gonna see me walking inside of the street as a recluse with no ID, nothing, my backpack, with my dirty clothes, and I'll be just fine until this shit is over. I promise you.
Fuck them statues and fuck Trump too. Like, and also on top of that, fuck Kanye West. I just want to throw that out there. It ain't got nothing to do with nothing, but fuck him too. Like, I'm just done.
Like, can we, the black delegate, trade Kanye West for, I don't know, anybody else? Justin Timberlake.
So you would trade him for Justin Timberlake?
Oh yeah, I'd take Justin over Kanye in a heartbeat.
From Memphis, he got soul. He know what the black church, what the choir is supposed to sound like. I kind of fuck with Justin Timberlake too.
I want Chris Stapleton if we gonna do a singer. I would think he's a country guy, but it don't matter what race you are, you love Tennessee whiskey.
That's true. That is true. That's a good ass song.
That is a great song.
And his voice is smooth. So I'll take either one of those.
R&B singer, but he couldn't cross over into that lane, so he started singing country.
Country music ain't nothing but R&B with a story.
He said he couldn't get into the R&B lane, so he started singing country.
He's in my R&B lane and in my I love him.
We'll let him in. I take Chris.
Okay, so we're gonna move on to the next topic. I want to talk a little bit about our boy Tekashi Snitch 9. So apparently he is out of jail. He is living his best life in house arrest. I'm gonna start with Billy because you a man. So what do you think about Tekashi being free on the internet, making money and making new music with Nicki Minaj?
I saw it coming. Honestly, it's just a different generation. I know it's that. Honestly, just snitch culture in general sounds bad because you don't really know how to handle it. People say don't snitch. I'm gonna be honest about it. People say don't snitch, but it's if it's your family member, you know who did it. What you gonna do?
If I see you commit a crime, I'm telling. If the cops.
So I was raised in.
Like, if you're not in the streets, I don't think the snitching rule applies. Like, you got to be a gangster for that to apply. If you ask me, like, if you just work a 9 to 5, you got a regular job. Like, listen, this ain't my lane.
I think he just falls into that celebrity mode of I did some shit now I got off because I mean he put a hit out on somebody. It's documented. He was in a gang. It's documented. They were obviously moving weight. It's documented, but yet he was the person who got off for snitching on other people. I think his 2 co-defendants got 30 years apiece. I mean, he got a year. There's no way if he wouldn't have been famous, that would have never happened. Good lawyers or not, he would have did at least 15 or 20.
Yeah. And I think that also, okay, one, I don't think he was ever really about that life. I think that he was about that life and he was using it to sell music and integrate into the culture, which he did. But then when it came down to it, he told on everybody because he wasn't about that life. And it showed once he actually got caught. You know what I'm saying? So, and like you said, it's not right because he did a year, he on house arrest, he out making music. But I think everybody saw that coming once he snitched. Like, we knew that he was about to be right back out here. But I don't blame Tekashi. I blame the people who's out here supporting him. Like, you think it's okay. You're out here buying his music, streaming his videos, and all this other stuff. So you're allowing him to live this lifestyle and make everybody think that what he did is okay.
And his music is fucking awful, by the way. It is good. Awful. I don't even know what he's saying.
It's now later trash. It's trash. Just, So what do y'all think about people saying, because, Nicki Minaj just did another song with him while he was on house arrest. So what do y'all think about people saying that they don't want to work with Nicki Minaj now because she fully supports snitching?
I think Nicki needs that clout.
I think Nicki just wants that check.
Yeah, people been stopped fucking with Nicki Minaj, to be honest with you. To be 100% honest, people have been stopped rocking with Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj she put herself on this pedestal and made it feel like she couldn't be reached, and she made herself inaccessible to the public. Whereas you got people like Meg Thee Stallion and Cardi B who the public likes them more, it seems like, because they are accessible to the public. And I think that was Nicki Minaj's downfall.
I think Nicki Minaj's downfall was trying to alienate other female artists and beefing with other female artists when she could have been collaborating, and she made herself look bad. It was her first, it was her and Remy beefing, and, we all know Remy bodied her in Sheether. You know what I'm saying?
Fuck out of her.
She bodied her in Sheether.
Woo!
But, the thing is, Remy doesn't have the popularity and the fan base that Nicki has. True. But then Cardi B came along, and Cardi B does have the fan base and the followers and stuff that Nicki has. And when Cardi B came out saying all the things that she was doing to, stop her bag and her career and, and all the things that she was doing to try to knock her down, like, and I believe Cardi because she tells everything. She tells on herself. She just doesn't come across as a liar to me.
She's honest as fuck. Like, and even about her own business. And I think that was the big thing that really made that transition for Nicki Minaj from being like somebody who people were still rooting for to somebody who's people like, well, maybe like she may be a little problematic, is because people had been saying it before Cardi B said it, but nobody had nobody had that believability like Cardi did. So for somebody who has just always been genuine to say those things and never had to hide behind that facade of being a celebrity, to say like, she done tried to stop my bag on several occasions and I just didn't want to address it. Like, for it to come out that way. And then I think what really just put the nail in her coffin was when she started doing the podcast. And she was literally just going at everybody's neck on every episode. It was literally like watching Angry Black Woman podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that, like, I think I think all of this stuff combined is really what caused Nicki Minaj to be in the situation that she's in.
Did it to herself.
She alienated herself the same way 50 Cent did.
Oh God,
She alienated herself. 50 made fun of people so much that everybody was like, you know what? We're not fucking with you like that, because I mean, even his own artist.
And now he's just really famous for being an internet troll, basically.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. I mean, obviously he wrote Power, but did he really write
that?
Power?
He got a team of writers to write.
Somebody else to write the shit right.
Exactly.
Yeah, let's be honest. 50 Cent's music ain't been popping in a very long time. His only good album was Get Rich or Die Trying. He might have had a few singles or a feature here and there, but other than that, no. 50's a good businessman. He knows good moves when he sees them, and Power was a great move. And obviously there's a whole line of series that's going to come about that's stemming from that. So he knows how to make money.
That actually takes us into the next segue, because the next verses that they was trying to set up was 50 Cent versus somebody. So 50 Cent said he wanted to go with Jay or Snoop Dogg or somebody like that. So tell me who you see 50 Cent battling in a versus battle.
For one, he don't have the discography to match up with Jay or Snoop. You talking 30 years in the game of peace of hits. 50 Cent got one good album and one halfway decent album.
What was that?
For even they're saying it's going to be T.I. 50 Cent matchup, but even T.I.'s discography is killing 50 Cent's. Yeah, 50 Cent has 2 diamond albums, but the only reason his albums went diamond is because he was involved in rap beef and people wanted to hear what was next.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. I agree. T.I.'s been very adamant and outspoken about calling out 50 Cent and telling him to bring it to the table, but I'm just like, 50, just sit down. You don't want that smoke. It's going to be embarrassing. You're going to have 5 songs to play, and T.I. still going to be playing music 3 hours later. You know what I'm saying? So his catalog is definitely not fucking with T.I.'s. And I'm like, that's not even a versus that I even want to. I would want to watch it for the antics, because, 50 Cent is a character, and so is T.I. Just to hear them go back and forth is going to be entertaining. But as far as putting their catalogs against each other, that's not even a contest. In my
Don't
opinion.
nobody want to hear Window Shopper. Don't nobody want to hear that shit.
Hey, I like that song. No, don't do that. Don't do that. That's a bop. That is a bop. Don't do that.
Questions.
But I was literally sitting here thinking, like, counting in my head, it really is only 5 songs. Like, I can't think of more than like 5. So,
and he doesn't have a lot of features because nobody puts him on anything because he alienated himself.
Exactly.
So then we could kind of put 50 Cent, Nicki Minaj on the same level as far as artists.
6ix9ine, that'll be fitting.
But he said that's his son, so maybe he's following in his father's footsteps at this point.
Right.
Okay, so who would T.I. go up against in a versus battle?
I think T.I. should go up against Jeezy.
Jeezy? That would be a good one. I would
Both
also
from Atlanta, long history of discography. Everybody remember Trap or Die 1 and 2. Good Lord. So I think T.I. should.
But you know what? Change the versus game is when they started introducing not just your own hits, but features.
Yeah.
And T.I. has a lot of features.
Probably more than a lot of people.
Because of that, I would actually like to see T.I. go up against Lil Wayne. And I know Lil Wayne's catalog is expensive, but I think that if they going hip for hip, that would be a good matchup that I would want to see.
I think
that would be nice. Look, he's talking about features. Wayne got a lot of features.
Yeah, he does have I think that it could go either way, just depending on what songs they pull out.
See, I would like to see Wayne and Drake just because obviously they're friends, but like you said, they got extensive catalogs themselves plus a whole lot of features.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all, I'm sorry. I'm not interested in seeing Drake do a versus battle. It's gonna be all mood music. Like, it's gonna be sad as shit.
No, but you know what? Listen, I went to the concert, the Lil Wayne versus Drake tour, which was kind of like an in-person versus battle the way they did it. And it was actually really dope. They was throwing jokes on each other and stuff. And it was rather entertaining. And Drake was not in his feelings the whole time.
Okay, see, because that's my worry, is that Drake is gonna get up there and literally just play like all Marvin's Room. Just 17
No,
Marvin's Room.
I'm a Scorpio. I'm fine with that. Me and Drake from the same, we come from the same cloth. I'm fine with that.
It's the Scorpios. They just want to be in their feelings all the time. I ain't got time for that.
Hey, I'll go give me a bottle of dark liquor and me and Drake go through it together.
Oh my gosh.
See, that's a problem. That is a problem.
Exactly.
Okay, so far, what has been your favorite versus, Quaysha?
My favorite. Okay, I got two favorites so far. My favorite was Erica and Jill. That was just a whole vibe, honey. I had a glass of wine and I was singing along and listening, and it was just a good time.
It was a mood.
And then I also even though Nelly's internet was messed up, I liked watching Nelly and Ludacris. I did.
That was good. But Nelly, my heart, heart. But I was even thinking I would have liked to see T.I. versus Ludacris because they had that whole King of the South, King of Atlanta battle going back in a bit.
Plus,
I thought that would be good.
Once you got into that Nelly Luda battle, you really noticed the difference and where Luda was and where Nelly was. Luda is more, even though he has hits, he's more of a lyricist. So the music, and Nelly was picking the wrong music too. He was picking something he had never heard. Nobody want to hear a new country song from you. But I thought it was a big difference. So I agree that T.I. Luda would have been amazing. My favorite so far was obviously, I think you got to go with Jill and Erica. I could literally sit here and just follow Jill Scott around and watch her smile and talk. Her voice is so soft and how beautiful her smile is. It just brings me comfort. I'm thinking about getting a picture of Jill Scott smiling just sitting next to my bed so that I wake up in a good mood in the morning.
Is your girlfriend okay with that?
I put one on her side of the bed too. We probably should get together. And I love the T-Pain Lil Jon. I thought that one was lit. Look, it was so many hits. People forget how cold T-Pain was.
I didn't. I love Teddy.
I have a whole T-Pain playlist right now. I will pull some Teddy Pendergrass down out on you in a heartbeat. I love him. T-Pain can do no wrong, but also I think that T-Pain and Lil Jon was perfectly matched because they were both out during a time where they could go hit for hit, and they both were having hits at the same time. So their music was easy. Every song they played, except the new stuff, was easily recognizable. I think that was probably my number one, and then Jill Scott and Erica was my number two if I had to rank them. But I really liked both of them equally, honestly.
By the way, I said it from the beginning. I thought we should have got Nelly Ja Rule. Same lane almost. I thought we should have got Nelly Ja Rule.
But I feel like Nelly has more hits than Ja Rule. Or maybe
what?
I said maybe not.
But you know what? I didn't think that Nelly would be able to hang with Ludacris. When I first heard about it, I was like, Ludacris hands down. But he stayed in. When he started breaking out more songs, I was like, oh, I forgot about that. Okay. He was hanging in there until he played that one song that only he knew.
Yeah, I was like, what is this?
I think the thing that people forget about Nelly is that off of his first two albums, he had 4 or 5 hits off of each one of those. So he may not have a great discography, but his albums that he did release will have a lot of hits back to back on it.
The whole first album goes. I still listen to Thicky Thick Girl. Now, come on now. Come on now.
So y'all country grammar was my shit. Everywhere. I could probably rap it for you right now, but we ain't got time.
I want to talk about the COVID-19 and the mask requirements that are going up all around the country, and also then just kind of give me your opinion on where we are. And I'm gonna start this one off with Quaysha because Billy, you talk too much. So go ahead, Quay.
I don't understand why it's so hard for people to wear masks in public. Like, it's not that hard, and it's not that big of a deal. You wear a mask when you're around people in the store, and these people throwing hissy fits because they have to wear a mask in a store. Like, are you serious? So you rather just catch COVID and, you know, endanger everybody in your household and everybody in your family? Well, you know, that's your business. Stay home and order all your stuff online if you don't feel like going out and wearing a mask in public. Like, these hissy fits, they act like, I don't understand people who don't believe COVID is a real thing. There are actually people out here who think that it's a gimmick and it's a game. And I'm like, I know people who've had COVID. I know people who've had family members and stuff who has died from COVID. So I don't understand people who actually, it has to happen to you personally. Like, and they ain't gonna believe it till they actually get it themselves and have a life-threatening experience to go through it. It's absolutely ridiculous. The AG suing Andy Brashear is, it's mind-boggling. It's asinine. And like, you have better things to do, like arresting the cops that killed Breonna Taylor. Like, that should be your number one focus. But instead, you're throwing engagement parties and enacting frivolous lawsuits.
Okay, so wait a minute. Let me just ask you this question, because Daniel Cameron is the Attorney General in Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like he is actually going to file any kind of charges in regards to Breonna Taylor?
No.
Is that the feeling? Okay.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to do a damn thing. I don't think he's going to do a damn thing. I think he's stringing it along, but eventually, I think the conclusion is he's going to tell the public that he doesn't plan to file any charges and he's not going to do anything. I don't think he's going to do anything. I think it's going to be a civil uprising, and he's going to have to end up reverting that. But initially, no, he's not going to do nothing. I have zero faith that he will do anything.
Yeah, I completely agree. I just wanted to see how you felt about that. So, Billy, why do you think that it is so hard for people to just accept and wear a mask right now during this COVID crisis or whatever?
Privilege. I think it all stems back to this hierarchy that America thinks they have over the world, and privilege, and we think we're so much better than everybody else. I think that's what it all stems back to. Because in China, when you're sick, flu, cold, anything, they wear masks regularly before this. So even when it was a mask mandate there, everybody already had them. And I think for us, it just comes back to this idea of superiority and largely white privilege. They feel like their rights are being infringed upon. How? I'm not sure how you feel like by someone asking you to wear a mask before coming into their business. I'm not sure how you feel like your rights have been infringed upon, but that's how they feel. And I agree with Quaysha that Daniel Cameron is using this mask lawsuit against Andy Brashear and making a big deal about his executive orders to throw us off of the fact that he hasn't charged anybody in the Breonna Taylor case.
I absolutely agree. I think, Billy, I don't know if I think it's privilege, but I think it's that European ideal of individualism, why people don't want to wear a mask. Like, well, what I do shouldn't really affect how you live your life. But they don't understand that this is like highly contagious. And then we have this dumbass president in office who just for the first time, I think yesterday, was seen wearing a mask. But he's been saying that people shouldn't wear masks. Like, he made it so political. It literally became Democrats versus Republicans on the mask issue, when it really should be
stupid in his mask, by the way.
Life versus death on the mask issue. Like, do you want to live? And then, you know, I've seen a lot of people just out in public. Like, I was talking to this guy and he was like, well, do you want to hang out? And I was like, we can hang out after COVID-19 is over, or we can socially distance to hang out, but we're not about to be face-to-face hanging out. And he was like, oh, you one of them scary girls. I went the fuck off on him. Because first of all, I live with my mother. My mother is 60 years old. He lived with his mama. So he wasn't even taking his parents into consideration. Just fuck that. And then I was like, my mom works at a nursing home every day. If I get her sick and then she gets one of those old people sick, I'm an asshole for that because I wanted to go out and hang out with a nigga I didn't even know.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally told him that, and then he deleted me. I don't feel bad because he
It wasn't a lot.
Exactly. Like, I was like, I don't want to date nobody that damn stupid anyway. Like, I don't understand, like, the disconnect in people's minds nowadays. Like, how is this possible? Like, do we really live in a society that is that stupid that we would negate the advice of our health officials? Like, is that where we are in America right now?
He's thrown out the CDC guidelines and requirements on this multiple times. CNN talked about it yesterday. I read on CNN that they got documents from the CDC where that the CDC had sent Trump saying that the biggest cause of concern for new spread and new transmission is K through 12 going back to school.
That was actually the next topic. So talk a little bit about how you feel about kids going back to school in this COVID bubble.
I think that shit is both of the kids here are have autoimmune deficiencies. They both got asthma, so I'm terrified. Brayson is probably gonna stay home. I'm not sure what Colin's gonna do. I'm hoping he ends up staying home. But Brace is probably going to do school from home. It's just going to be a lot of work with them. But I think it's a terrible idea to send kids back to school. And I saw that Trump said something about cutting the federal budget, which is honestly only 10% of a school's budget. Most of it comes from state. 90% of a school's budget is state and local. Mm-hmm. But I think that shit is time. I think he's just doing it for votes because his constituents want their kids back in school. Mm-hmm. And I'm not willing to let nobody's kids die for some votes, but obviously he is, because they're saying it'll be between 15 to 60,000 deaths they're predicting of kids. Yeah. I don't want mine to be one of them.
And Trump is not concerned with any number of deaths that COVID may bring. He's let us know that early on. He could have started and shut down stuff like well before he did. They talk about how if these social distancing would have been put in place like just 2 weeks earlier, like thousands of lives could have been saved and like the spread could have been prevented. But again, people are listening to our president, who is an idiot. And I don't think it's safe for the kids to go back to school either. So it's like, we're considering, okay, so, and if they do, like, I just don't see how they're going to be able to keep all the kids socially distanced and keep everybody safe, especially school buses. Like, there's no way they're going to be able to keep those kids apart on school buses. My daughter's school bus route is already overcrowded to the point where they do 2 trips. So when school lets out, she sits at school, they do a route, they come back and get her, and then she, comes home. So that's why she gets home a little later. So if the bus route is already crowded, what you going to add an extra, 2 more routes to something, I just don't see it being possible. And then it's like, okay, so what if we take them to school every day? Even when they're in the classroom, her school is overcrowded. Mm-hmm. So if all the kids return to school at the same time, like, there's no way they're going to be able to keep them 6 feet apart. They're not going to be able to keep kids from congregating in the hallways. And even if they're keeping people safe, there's always going to be some people that's going to go against it, because there are people's families who are going out in public and not wearing masks, not washing their hands, not using hand sanitizer. And then those kids are going to go to school with people who are, it's going to spread. It's not going to be good at all. And so we're considering homeschooling. But I mean, my daughter, she's going to be a senior in high school next year. And I know she doesn't want to spend her senior year being homeschooled, but I mean, we can't put life in danger either.
Not to mention, I wonder how much more they actually expect these teachers to go into their pockets.
That's what I was about to say next.
These teachers go into their pockets for a large part of what you see in their classroom, and they're only making 35 to 40 to between 35 and 40 a year. How much more do you expect these?
The school system, like, they already don't provide school supplies for your children, right? They don't provide paper. They don't provide pencils. They don't provide nothing but an old-ass textbook that probably came from 1958. So if the kids are required to have masks and let's say you live in a low income family who can't afford to go out and buy a mask, that means your teacher has to buy a mask for you in order for you to come to school. And then she has to police you all day to make sure you have that mask on. When are you going to learn?
And I'm terrified for 1st through 6th. We got 2 7-year-olds. I know they not about to wear a mask all day.
No.
Yeah, the
They
little
little
kid.
boys, they nasty. Their hands is always sticky and dirty anyway.
Yeah.
Digging in their nose, pissing everywhere. I mean, you just can't expect first through 6th graders to really be able to comply with those rules.
I really feel like sending kids back to school without like an actual plan, because that's literally what they're planning on doing, is going to be a breeding ground for dead children. Like it just is what it like. There's too many possibilities and too many factors that you cannot take into consideration when you send those kids back to school, because you don't know what a kid is going to do. Kids will be sitting there talking and playing 1 minute and fighting, the whole damn class is fighting the next. Then at that point, your whole 10th grade class got COVID-19. What do you do?
I was telling my girlfriend the other day, I said the same thing is going to happen in those classrooms that's happened on those cruise ships. A lot of those classrooms are outdated. So the whole schools run on one air conditioning system.
Yeah.
And those cruise ships, they all ran on one air conditioning system. And they said it actually was the ventilation in the cruise ship cabins. When one person got it, that's how almost the whole cruise ship ended up getting it. And I think that's what's going to happen in schools. You got 30 kids in the classroom. They're not, the guidelines are stupid as fuck, because you're saying, well, we're gonna check their temperature when they get to school. We want parents to do it at home. Shouldn't they be having their trip, if anything, shouldn't they have it checked before they get on the bus by a bus driver?
Yep.
Right. If the parents ain't gonna do it at home, they get on the bus, what the fuck?
And most of the time, at least in my experience or in the neighborhood that I came from, your parents might get up and go to work before you. So I'm responsible for taking my own temperature and saying whether or not I can go to school. I'm always say no.
Right.
So then you got kids missing school. Like, none of this is making any sense. I think we as a society need to find a way to make it easier on parents for their children to be able to stay home until all of this is over. Like that, like I don't even have no kids, but I'm uncomfortable with y'all kids going back to school. I'm uncomfortable with the people who I know who are teachers stepping into a classroom with these dirty ass kids. And I'm not calling y'all kids dirty. I'm just saying kids are dirty. So like, I'm uncomfortable with the whole scenario. If I was a janitor, I wouldn't even want to go to work.
Yeah, it's not going to be good for anybody. And like Billy was saying, these school buildings are old. Mm-hmm. They have poor ventilation system and they're circular. It only takes one. It takes one kid to come to school with COVID, and then everybody will have it. Yeah.
So there's, let's say, 1,500 kids in a school. That's 1,500 families that now have to deal with COVID. That's 15 or 3,000 sets of grandparents that could potentially get, like, that's a lot. That is a whole, and for us as a country to disregard that, just throw it out the fucking window.
It's going to be a fucking disaster.
It's already a disaster.
You probably going to see, if it happens on that scale, it's going to be a lot of death.
Yeah. That's why I don't understand why they're not trying to actually implement something that will actually work. And that's why also I don't understand why it's so much conversation about giving a second stimulus. Like, when you look at what other countries are doing, like, they are getting monthly payments. You know, they are having, you know, rent relief. Like, they are doing things to make sure that their economy and that their people are straight. America has shown that they don't give a fuck about Americans.
Not the
they
people.
don't.
The companies, they do. They don't give a fuck about the individuals. And I was, before this started, I was scrolling on Facebook, because that's what I do when I wake up this morning, that they want to do stimulus checks. But Mitch McConnell only wants to give stimulus checks to people who make under $48,000 a year.
Yeah, I'm fucked.
Horrible.
Me too.
Yeah, I like to call him Bitch McConnell. It makes me feel good.
Bitch McConnell, I like that. I need that on the shirt, because I got a shirt that says "Fuck Donald Trump." I need a shirt that says "Bitch McConnell."
That is really good. I like that.
I'll get matching t-shirts.
Oh yes, that would be dope. You know what? I'm in with that. So yeah, they want to cut off a lot of the population, and then they also want to, there's still people who still waiting on those first round of checks. The people who were low income never got paid. So
or they did pay for their dependents.
Exactly. So we haven't even fully paid people the first time. And then they were saying that there could be up to 28 million people who are homeless.
Yes.
Next month.
Mm-hmm. And that's the whole point about why I don't understand why the government isn't doing anything about rent relief. I was actually watching a show on Netflix. It's called The Patriot Act. Mm-hmm. Very informative. Check it out if you ever have time. But they were talking about how, just giving people rent relief isn't a solution because of where the money from rent goes. It actually trickles down to the public servants like the teachers and stuff like that, and how all the schools and stuff would lose funding if nobody paid rent for, let's say, 6 months. You know what I'm saying? The trickle down effect that they would have. So that's why it's like more imperative that the government not just have these one-time stimulus packages, because we don't know how long COVID is going to last. Initially, they was talking about a couple of months. That was in March. Here we are, July, and there's no end in sight. Let's just put that out there. There's no end in sight. There's no relief coming. These so-called vaccinations and them experimenting in Africa, that just
tears my soul up.
Oh, yeah, it really does. It pisses me off. Like, it's like you're going to go to these poor countries where they don't really have an option and just like, here, take this drug, try it. And I honestly don't think that there's a vaccine that's going to work for COVID right now. I think they're just experimenting on
Exactly. So, and in my opinion, if Donald Trump is willing to take medication that we know don't work, test the fucking vaccine on him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the fact that he has a stake in the medication, like, nobody thinks that's shady.
The corruption, the sheer and utter unmitigated corruption that is the United States government right now is ridiculous.
Yeah, and that's what pisses me off about Donald Trump is that he doesn't even hide it. It is just out there, zero fucks given. And so the people that still support him, I just don't understand like how and why. Like, what about you? Like, even if you are a racist and you like he's a racist, but he doesn't like poor people. So if you're racist, and you're poor, like
he definitely don't like you.
Right, he is not your friend. You can't do nothing for him.
Yep, you're absolutely right. So I feel like since we've been in this era of COVID-19, we've seen like a lot of people in public in general just losing their fucking mind. And I think as a society, we've just all decided to dub them as Ken and Karens. So do y'all think that this is like a COVID-19 phenomenon, or is it just something that we're catching on camera more?
No, I think we fucking tired of white people fucking with us and thinking that they have the rights to do certain shit that none of us like that should be everybody's right to do. I think we just tired of them fucking with us. Like, it's some really stuck up motherfuckers out here that feel like they're better than other people, and I think that we're just tired of that shit and putting it on camera, fucking with them, making fun of them, putting them on blast, letting the world know how they move is the best way to go about doing it.
I think it's because we got time today. Period. We got time. People are working from home. Some people are off work and can't worry about their job, don't know when they're going to be. And we are just sick and we are tired and we got time today. So no Karen, no Ken, you're not going to get away with your foolishness today because I got time and I'm fed up. So it's just like, I feel like it's just the right combination of events right now. It's just like, no, we're not taking this no more. We're done.
I agree kind of with both of y'all. I think that it's the right time and right place for it to happen because a lot of people ain't got a whole lot of shit going on. But I also think that Black people is like, we don't have 400 years of this shit. Like, we are done at this point. So I want to ask, like, what do you guys think about the videos where you see a Ken or a Karen and like the Black person actually is in a physical altercation with that person? Like, it ends that way in the video. Because to me, I always have to say this because I always have something to say about violence. I do not advocate physical violence. However, it does give me like a certain amount of satisfaction to see that person get their comeuppance. Do y'all think that's wrong?
No.
Nope.
I love to see niggas get knocked the fuck out. I've been watching fight videos my whole life since I was in high school.
Right. No, I love it. I love it because they deserve that shit. That's karma. You needed that. Hopefully you get your mind right afterwards.
Yeah,
no, it's very satisfying.
I agree. Like, because I was watching this video where this guy was literally just walking through this neighborhood, and it was alarming because it could have ended up in one of those Ahmaud Arbery cases. And this white lady was just following him, like screaming at the top of her lungs. And I literally wanted him to just turn around. And I did not want this man to hit this white woman, but I did want him to shake the shit out of her. Why do they feel so comfortable policing Black people's bodies, like policing where we are? Why are they so comfortable in that?
Oh,
I think the thing about it is, if you notice, white people are really good at picking which Black people to fuck with. They're really good, I notice, at picking peaceful Black people to fuck with. You don't really, they every now and then they'll fuck up and pick an angry one and get snapped on and get knocked the fuck out, but they're really good at picking the peaceful ones, the people who don't want no problem, who won't just record them instead of going to fuck off on them, putting their hands on them. Because I'm not going for that. I'm not about to just record you. I'm probably slap you.
Yeah.
Open-handed.
Yeah, I think Billy's right. I mean, so you got the right one. And then what I love to see, and I've been seeing a lot of on the internet, is white people sticking up for Black people on these videos. I actually saw a video where there was this white guy. He was following a group of like 2 or 3, young, Black teenagers, they was walking. I guess they lived in the same apartment building. Mm-hmm. And he was screaming at them, telling them that, they didn't belong there and all this other stuff. And so it was a white lady recording him, telling like, why are you harassing these boys? Like, so just in case something happens, she had it on tape. She's like, why are you harassing these boys? Leave them alone. Like, they're not bothering you. Leave them alone. Mm-hmm. And then through that conversation, from left field comes another white guy, and he tackles this dude.
Yes.
I have not seen it. I need to see that video. I have not seen it.
And I was like, yes. I was like, go, Tom. Yeah. And I said, oh, he was not prepared for that at all. He didn't see that coming. And I was like, that's what I like to see.
Yeah. I love a white ally who's about action. Like,
even the George Floyd video, there were white people there on the scene that were willing to, speak up and try to stand up for him.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Okay, so my next thing is, so we see a lot of Kens and Karens being called out on Facebook. And we call them out on Facebook. We contact their employer. They get fired. Boom, now they don't have no job. So my question is this. Does that kind of cancel culture breed more hatred because now they have an actual reason to blame Black people? Black people actually did do something to them. Or should we continue to make them pay the consequences? Because I think my thing is there a better way to do it that doesn't cause them to more actively hate Black people? So let me go to Quaysha first, Billy.
I'm going to say no. I'm for it. And I think that, like, do you know how long Black people have been struggling in this country for years? And because of your racist ideologies, and you think it's okay to get behind your keyboard, to harass people, to talk shit, to call people racial slurs and racial names, and think that nothing's going to happen to you. And then when you go viral and you lose your job and you lose your livelihood, that gives you time to sit down and think about what you did. And yeah, it may make you more angry, but hopefully it gives you the time for self-reflection.
Billy, what you think?
I agree. I think the thing about it is they always end up saying sorry because they know not only they want their job back, but they know deep down they did something fucking wrong. And honestly, I think if you hate me, the level of hate you have for me don't really matter because you still hate me. And also, one thing I have noticed is I've seen more white business owners who know that they're not going to have repercussions and get fired trying to get into those arguments with people, trying to bring out those negative aspects of it because they own their own business. We can't fire them or get people to stop fucking with their business because they like their clientele probably feels the same way that they do.
I think my thing is I always wonder, does that cause more harm than good? Just because, like, before they may not have even ever had an encounter with a Black person, but they know that they don't like Black people because of, you know, what they heard. But now Black people done came together on the internet and got them fired. Black people done got, like, they're being threatened on the internet. Like, their whole life has changed because of their point of views. And I'm not saying that it's unfair. I'm just saying that perhaps that causes some additional resentment.
Yeah. No, but I still feel like it's self-inflicted, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's self-inflicted. And you can use Black people as a scapegoat all day, but at the end of the day, it was your actions and your words that led for those consequences. And you thought wasn't going to happen because of your white privilege. And then when that was stripped from you for a second, now you mad, you feel like you actually have a reason. Instead of thinking that you actually have a reason, you should be thinking that, what did I do wrong? Like, that to me is me blaming you for my views, you know, and putting it off on you, using Black people as a scapegoat. That's just another skewed way of thinking. That to me should sit down and cause for some self-reflection. For, you know, what I did to cause this. To automatically put the blame on somebody else and say, well, that's why I don't like you, is a cop-out. And so for us to not do anything and to let them go on with their racist views and just not say nothing and let them go to work every day, they're not learning anything by that either. So no, there has to be consequences.
I literally know Black people who didn't get a job because of things that they posted on their social media regarding white people. Why should white people be any different? Whether they were wrong or right, why should it be any different? If I can be affected going and walking into a job for posting something on social media, I think you should be able to too.
Tiffany Haddish done cut off all her hair and she is walking around bald, y'all. When I first saw the video, I thought maybe, you know, she was losing her mind a little bit, but I think Tiffany Haddish is just like a little out there anyway. But is it just me, or do y'all think she looks good? Because I like it.
I don't think it's fair. I hate that everybody telling her she's losing her mind because she wanted to cut her hair off. I think that's fucked up.
Yeah. Well, I think it's because traditionally when women make a big change like that, it's because they're going through something. You know, most women, there are a lot of women who rock a bald head and are fierce and are gorgeous with it. I'm actually jealous of those women because it is so freeing and not have to wake up and have to worry about your hair and stuff each day, you know. So I'm all for it. I was curious as to why. I was like, I don't know, is she doing it for like a movie role, or, you know, or is it in solidarity with somebody who has breast cancer and going through something? Because I know a lot of times people do that when they have close friends or something that's going through something. Or maybe she was just tired of her hair and was just like, fuck it, I'm done.
I think she was just hot. She was probably hot, tired of wearing this shit on her head, cut that shit off.
She literally, like, I watched her because she came back out after everybody called her crazy. And she was like, I'm not crazy. She was like, I have been talking about wanting to be able to see my scalp. She was like, I know where everything is on my whole body, but I've never been able to see my scalp. She was like, I know that and this is why I say she's a little out there. She was like, I know where every mole is on my body and I know how many I have, but I don't know if I have any in my head. So like her thing is like, I guess she wanted to be able to explore just a new part of her body. And I'm cool. Like, and I thought she looked really cute, but then, and I still think she looks cute, but then she posted a meme and somebody said that she looked like Steve Harvey without the mustache. And now I can't unsee it.
Steve Harvey got that thick ass caterpillar sit on his face. I ain't never seen a mustache so thick. Him and Lionel Richie.
Like I think she looks really cute, and I love Tiffany Haddish, and I love her personality. So like for me, like when everybody's like, "Oh, she might be losing it," and that's just what people say when women cut their hair, or they say if a lady cuts her hair off, then a big change is coming or something like that. So maybe she's changing her life, maybe she's not. I thought she looked really cute until she said she looked like Steve Harvey.
I thought she looked good. Rock that shit.
I just think Tiffany Haddish is just one of those people. She's just a free spirit. You know what I'm saying? Like she said, I ain't never seen my scalp before. I want to see my scalp. I'm going to cut off my hair. Like she's just kind of that random flow. She just goes with what she feels. Exactly. And she cut off her hair because she wanted to see her scalp. So she did it. It doesn't make sense.
Appreciate that.
But that's what she wanted to do.
I can definitely appreciate that. Okay, guys. Final topic for today. Charlamagne the Guy got a new TV. He's going to be hosting a new show. My question to that is he leaving the Breakfast Club?
It's been in the works for a while. I think that he's outgrowing the Breakfast Club. Books, the one-on-ones that he's been doing on YouTube with different artists. He obviously has the Rolodex to contact anybody in that A-list world to get them to come on his show. Charlamagne is gonna ask the tough questions. I think Charlamagne has been outgrowing the Breakfast Club for a while.
Yeah, I can see that. I think he's just going to a different place in his career. And it's going beyond, the Breakfast Club. He could still do the Breakfast Club if he wanted to, but I just think he's trying to go to a higher plane, and just where it's centered more around him.
Only thing I say about it is I'm not sure that cable was the way to go. Because cable's a dying company. I mean, it's a dying brand. People's not really fucking with cable no more. Most people just pay for the Netflix, the Hulu, and Amazon Prime or something, and it's a hell of a lot cheaper than paying cable every month. Yeah. And he's gonna be on Comedy Central. I thought it would have been smarter for him to go to maybe weekly shows that would have been on like Netflix or a streaming service and get that bag that way.
I was honestly expecting it to be MTV because Charlamagne has such a good, long-standing relationship with MTV.
Yeah, he's done 2 other shows on MTV. He's done 2 other shows.
But I'm interested to see what this talk show is going to be. But I feel like if he actually does leave the Breakfast Club, that leaves a big hole in the show that I don't know they can find somebody to fill, because Charlamagne is from the Wendy Williams School of Mess. Mm-hmm. There's nobody else besides Charlamagne and Wendy doing what they do. So
Charlamagne, they call him the black, what is it? Howard Stern.
So to remove him from that show, I don't know that show would survive the same, if that makes sense.
Well, Angela Yee's been talking about leaving for years. They're saying she's about to leave too, though. So Envy said he extended his contract, but both of their contracts are about to be up. Yee and Charlamagne. So I think we see Envy and 2 new co-hosts at some point.
Is it the same show?
No, never will be. That show will be implemented in our history as one of the greatest radio shows that there is.
Yeah, I think they're getting inducted into the Radio Hall of Fame, which is a big deal because technically they're still a really young show.
And side note, I think all of this stems from that interview that Charlamagne did with Gucci, where Gucci repeatedly referred to Angela Yee as a bitch, and Charlamagne never corrected him. Her and his dynamic on that show have not been the same since. They don't rock with each other like that.
That was the piece I was going to bring up next, because it seems like that since that Gucci interview, and I know COVID is going on, but they haven't even really been in the studio, all 3 of them together since then.
No.
Right. They've all been doing it like remotely.
Yeah. And then Angela Yee was on, she was on tour with Lip Service. So she was off, other filming in Michigan and all those other places. So she wasn't in the studio with them. So they haven't really had that chemistry since that interview. So I was going to ask you guys if you thought, Quaysha, do you think that plays any kind of role into, possibly the Breakfast Club coming to it?
Definitely. Because if you listen to the Breakfast Club, they've been rocking with each other for a very long time. And not only do they seem to be, co-hosts, they seem to be like friends.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they seem to be friends. And so not only if you know, it was like if I'm interviewing somebody and they're talking about you, Ty, and they're constantly calling you a bitch, and I'm like, hold on, listen, you can feel how you want to feel, but you're not going to disrespect my friend in front of me. Like, that's all he had to say. Like, you know, listen, I can't change your mind about how you feel, but you don't keep calling her a bitch in front of my show. Like, I think if he would have said that, it would have made a world of difference. But you just gonna keep letting somebody disrespect me in front of you, that's definitely gonna change how I feel about you. Because I'm gonna be wondering how you feel about me. Like, what other things have people said in front of you that you ain't corrected them on, or you just let people say? It change the dynamic, and I could definitely see how, you know, that would happen. So, because if I was Angela, I wouldn't be cool with that.
I'm not rocking with it. And that was my next question. Do y'all think Charlamagne was wrong? Because I feel like if Gucci was comfortable enough to say that on camera, what is he saying to Charlamagne about Angela off camera?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and as my friend, I expect you to uphold my image the same way I would uphold yours. And I personally, I don't see Angela Yee ever letting somebody disrespect them the way that he allowed. But also, do y'all see Charlamagne, the radio dude, because that's what he calls himself, the radio dude, do y'all see him standing up to Gucci and really honestly saying anything?
No, I see him standing up to anybody. Because, I mean, push come to shove, Charlamagne is not a gangster.
Exactly.
He's not hard. So it's not like I don't see him really standing up to anybody. Like, I mean, he's not going to. But I think that also speaks to who he is as a person. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And then if I was friends with Charlamagne and I saw that, and I would be like, dang, like, I thought you and Angela was cool and you just kind of let that happen. Mm-hmm. Like, I would be questioning the type of stuff that, you know, people are saying to him, maybe about me, and that he's not saying anything. It shows that he's mainly off of himself. You cared more about your TV show and your ratings than you did for the people that you're working with.
Yeah, I definitely feel that. Billy, you want to get the last word on this one?
Last thing I have to say about that situation is I actually expected him to stand up because he stood up to Birdman when he came into him and Envy stood up to Birdman, and everybody forget.
He did not. He said, "Why are you coming at the radio dude like that?" There was no stand up.
Listen. He asked Fredo Starr if he wanted to go outside and box. People forget that interview when Onyx was on the Breakfast Club and they were trying to play Charlamagne, and he asked them multiple times if they wanted to step outside.
I don't think he would have actually went outside. He would have locked the door after they went.
But don't act tough, and then when this situation right here happens, and Angela Yee and your co-host is being disrespected, you not standing up for it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't know. I think that perhaps is one of the times that I saw Charlamagne probably not perform 100%. But again, Charlamagne is one of those people who he kind of like, he has come a long way as a host, because he was the same dude who sniffed Jennifer Lopez's chair after she got up out of it on the Breakfast Club. Like, true. So
Charlamagne had him telling girls on the Breakfast Club that he was sucked fart out their butt.
Like,
he was a womanizer for a long time.
And he celebrated it. So he's come a long way. And I think that maybe this may be, and I'm not trying to excuse it, this may be one of those situations where maybe he just didn't know what to do. But it may have started the demise of what we
I think it did.
A piece of our culture, for sure.
I think it's probably been a long time coming and people are just now really seeing it. But you know how stuff happens over the time and it's like, all right, but I think that was kind of like the last straw, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay. And they all have multiple things going on, so they don't need the Breakfast Club.
Right.
Angela Yee does so much. She does a lot of stuff. So she doesn't really need the Breakfast Club. She has, like you said, she has lip service. You know, she got the real estate thing going on. She has a juice bar. She doesn't need the Breakfast Club.
She just introduced Jada Pinkett Alcina to the world. Like, Angela Yee's doing
right. She got her own little special interview it's going. And that didn't broke the internet.
At first I thought August Alcina was a snitch, man, but that man hurt. You know what I'm saying? And
hurt people.
I agree with what he did.
I'm not about to do this with you today.
I agree with what August Alsina did.
No, you don't, because if you had a side chick, you would not want her doing that to you. You don't agree.
It is toxic. She is a witch. She would have been hung in the Salem witch trials in 17, 18, 1600s. So I'm not rocking with that.
Listen, so did y'all see the red table talk where Jada brought herself to the table?
Okay, can we talk about how it was only 12 minutes and she gave Jordan Sparks at least 45? Or not,
Jada has
Jordan Woods 45?
Can we talk about that? She's got the devil.
I think it's gonna be like an hour-long conversation though, where she discussed this though.
And then she really didn't want to talk about it. Like, she was just kind of like,
they did. I think they were put in a position where they had to, because so many things were being said, and it's just like, y'all not gonna say nothing.
Yeah, because she had already denied it 3 times, like Paul denied Jesus. And after August came back and said,
lying, by the way.
Huh?
I never thought August was lying, by the way. People was like, he's lying. And I was like,
I've seen the pictures with the arm around the waist. I knew this for years that shit how they was rocking.
Yeah. I didn't think he was lying, but I just thought they had a different kind of marriage, which turns out to be true. But I also think that Jada hurt a lot of people in this situation, and she probably isn't the best at owning up to what she did, because she didn't own up to a motherfucking thing in that interview.
Yeah, she called it an entanglement. Let's start there, which is now trending. She's like, I got into an entanglement. I said, oh, is that what we call it these days?
Have y'all seen the memes where they took and put her face on the Tangled posters?
Yes, yes.
I am dying. Like, on the inside, I am dead.
I've been laughing for days off of this shit.
Yeah. And the internet's always gonna win. So this is a win for the culture.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I'm sorry about y'all's marriage. Willard, I love you. Call me. But I mean, this is a win for the culture and for the memes at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think that Will was sad that he had to actually come out and say it. Like, okay, that we have to actually admit that this happened and it was a thing. And, you can see it on his face. He said, I'm going to get you back. I think he means that.
Oh,
they were joking about him. I was like, no, I think he kind of serious, Jada.
It's going to be a sex tape of Will Smith and somebody else in Hollywood. It's about to be a sex tape out here somewhere. Will Smith about to drop.
Listen, the way they were sitting at that table when they were talking out, you can tell that they both probably had their indiscretions, but they both know about each other's indiscretions and they've accepted it and moved on. But it's like, okay, now that the public is aware of all this stuff, that's a whole other story when the outside world is aware of what's going on out of your house.
Exactly. And he has to relive that, because we're just finding out for the first time. So this is all fresh and new. Y'all, it was 5 years ago for y'all, but those emotions, I guarantee, came back like they were fresh as fuck in that moment.
Absolutely. I'm sure he was pissed when that video aired, and then August said that Will gave his consent. I know Will was probably like, the fuck I did. That's not what happened at all.
I'm sure Jada slept on the red table that night. Like, you don't even get a couch. You get sleep on the table.
Yeah. And I think it was interesting to watch, like, her body language, like, and everything.
Never put her feet on the floor. She kept her hands in her lap. Yeah, it was
talking with her hands a lot.
That bad marriage for life shit at the end, it just, I was done with the interview. I was like, okay, I'm glad it's only 12 fucking minutes. This is toxic and I can't take no more of it.
I do feel like that was the wrong way to end it. That was the wrong way.
I didn't think they were going to say bad marriage for life. No, I didn't.
But the fact that they said it together shows that they're kind of on the same page. So,
yeah, I was like, dang, that y'all both just went to the same place, huh? I guess y'all have been together a long time.
Yeah, so I mean, technically they're okay with being in the bad.
They said that shit before. That handshake, they said that before. That wasn't the first time thing.
They probably said it when they got back together. Bad marriage for life.
That's on the regular.
Like, it just is what it is. All right, guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up for today. Quaysha, we had so much fun having you here today. Thank you.
It was fun being here. I really enjoyed it.
Thank everybody for watching. This is what we're doing now. And we hope that you find peace, love, and joy. And we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
I love it.